All right. Okay, so now that we started recording, we can, you know, continue. So right now we have three people here: Milan, that's me, Saurabh, and Yadong. Edge working group meeting on December 18th. The main agenda topic for today, and I'm gonna start sharing. Okay. You see the screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just Gitter channel, but the main topic, as we discussed last time, was about discuss messaging to or with steering committee on future work group engagements. And that's still the main topic. I mean, I see the comment from Yadong saying that we have a new member, and I mean, yeah, how about you re-evaluate? Well, sure, that's what we are doing last couple of kind of months, I guess, and that's why we wanted to reach out to the steering committee, I guess, for guidance. And so action item was on me to put some sort of a letter recommendation, and so I can share that as well. I drafted something which I'm going to share on the screen for you guys to see. However, now that we don't have many folks in a working group like Ofer and Manash that are normally here, I'm not sure how relevant our comments are, but still we could review. I just want to say that you can start reading this as I talk, and so then we can continue, I guess. I'll want to let everybody know that I did reach out to Prashant Pulavarti, and you know, I thought like, okay, maybe the easiest way is if I ask him to join this meeting, and so we can you know, get firsthand kind of input from one of the steering committee members. And so I did reach out yesterday to him asking if he could briefly join this meeting. He said he won't be because he's traveling. However, he did say that I basically told him that you know, the working group, you know, we are at the point where we are not certain if Edge working group should continue or perhaps be paused. And, you know, want the guidance from steering committee, right? And I invited him if he could come. He said he couldn't, but he replied that the question is a good one, and would like to discuss it. And so ask like for working group to make a recommendation. Can we make a recommendation? And so if you know, he basically thinks the steering committee will be supportive of whatever recommendation we decide to make. And so it's up to us, I guess. But just so anyway, that's update from my side on that topic. That I did reach out to one steering committee member directly. So I don't know if you had a chance to read through this, what I put together. Yadong and Saurabh.
Milan, can we tone it in a way that we would like to make progress? And how does steering committee suggest we make progress? Is the right evolution
Yeah, so this is like
to
maybe
form a new working group which has a broader scope and a broader SOW.
yeah,
But
yeah.
even
So
that, I would be apprehensive. You know, we had, like you mentioned, right? We didn't have a lot of uh, representation from other companies. So would even there's a point of even doing that. You know? So we're basically looking for guidance from them. You know.
yeah, so this is like, yeah, you're totally right. I didn't. This is not complete letter. I mean, I think there's a last. I was listing. I ended up listing like kind of sort of key points, several reasons, and so say we could add topic, say something like to what you're saying, right? To say that um, um, looking for the guidance from um, 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 how do we should we call this new working group? Um, Compliance working group? I don't know. I mean, um,
Yeah, I don't know what would be the accurate name for it. I think, Milan, is it correct to say that the primary reason why we are doing this, why we are going to steering committee, is because the scope where we started from is constraining us, and we want to evolve into something that covers more things.
um,
A wider
um,
discussion and
wider.
it evolved into a broader domain which has
Okay.
impact beyond
Edge.
our
Right? Beyond our
definition of edge.
fictional edge. Um,
Now, Milan, maybe I'm being overly optimistic, and you can make me realistic. Do you see that if we broaden the scope, we will have more participation? Would you
Um,
see that? I was just thinking more on what Offer said last time, that we're trying to solve a problem, but then the people who are really impacted by these problems, they are not participating. Like
like,
your,
you mean like hardware vendors or the framework or software
I
vendor?
mean, like your system integrators of Qualcomm and system integrators of Intel, which are the ones who are uh, burdened by the fragmentation, which is what we are trying to reduce by compliance, and
Right.
the work that we were doing was going to benefit them, right? And if it evolves into a broader scope, uh, do you see from your side we would have higher participation?
I, I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if we make it something that is, uh, uh, if the work group would evolve into something wider, I'm guessing yes. Because it has implications beyond just um, uh, hardware vendors, if you wish. I mean, in a sense, like this is it feels like largely so far the edge has been perceived as a hardware vendor topic,
Right.
and by creating a new working group or renaming or into the I don't know, general compliance working group. I'm not sure how to say this. There is no such thing, right? Right, currently, there is no. Actually, is there? No, there is no. I'm not sure where the compliance is currently covered. I think it's covered by one of the SIGs. Um, I feel like either infra or I mentioned here infrastructure. But I'm not sure if compliance is specifically covered anywhere.
Yeah, they've been pretty relaxed about those aspects. As a ONNX as a standard, they're just stayed in a file format place, right? But it's hurting us, the industry overall. I agree with you.
Um, yeah, so bottom line, maybe could be higher participation because then some software vendors and hardware vendors will come together and be the discussion we have would probably be more holistic. Um,
Okay.
it's hard to tell, right? I mean, at this point, what we have seen, the participation on our working group has been kind of kind of I think lacking. But okay, the other thing is um, you know in general, to your point, compliance as a topic has been kind of sort of avoided.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, that is perhaps where the focus should be. It should be about compliance. So that's yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Well, perhaps this group shouldn't be uh, edge working group as edge working group. Perhaps leaders should uh, um, we are recommending what that edge working group should be at least paused until there is sufficient evidence. There is a interest in the topic, right? Is that what we should say?
Sure. Uh, I was actually trying to say that we are recommending that we evolve it into a broader working group.
Okay.
But then,
Okay. Well, let's maybe separate the two. Uh, Alternatively, um, if not, I don't know how to say this, terminated, disband. Um, uh, uh, let's leave that for now. Only it could evolve oh, different.
Yep, with a broader scope and a broader and a charter to cover with the broader with a broader charter to cover both static and just so that we are specific about it, right? To work group with broader charter, cover both static and dynamic execution profiles.
How about this?
Yeah, that's fine too.
Could okay, so I don't know if you want to update any other
No, there are a couple of typos. I don't know if the spell check is working or not.
actually, I was wondering about the same. I don't see, normally I see uh, interestingly enough, it should underline, but
Wow, yeah, it's not doing something.
there's
I'd
something,
have to,
somehow it's blocked, right? Something
yeah,
like,
like the number 2 has a typo on the third word, right? Representatives,
yeah,
and
that's interesting. That doesn't,
maybe
maybe
close
it's not,
Outlook and restart Outlook or something, or restart your system.
let me try with new,
Or Word, copy paste in Word or something, maybe
yeah.
work over there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't something is off with Outlook. Okay. Anyway, I will use a spell checker before obviously I send anything. Now the thing is, so what? The old Microsoft everything. Microsoft Suite is all not picking up.
Not even here.
Not even Word. I mean, that's interesting.
Can you copy paste the text in the window and I can give you back?
No, don't worry.
Uh,
I will fix the spelling. I was wondering about the same thing because when I was typing, I was like, this should be been like cut up. And anyways, um, I'll fix it. Fix any um, other spelling errors I find. So any other kind of things that we should add here, or you know, add maybe other reasons? Yadong, you have anything to say here?
Nope.
Okay. So anyways, so Skinny here, or somebody just joined, apparently. Rohit,
Yeah.
new member.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Rohit. Welcome
Thank you.
to the working group. You are coming at the point where we where we are sort of debating if the working group should continue with the current name and under current scope, and because the things we have been discussing sort of go beyond just Edge, and it's more it's turning more into the domain of compliance in general. So that's why what you see on the screen is sort of in a letter to steering committee that we are trying to kind of get guidance from them, right, about how to proceed.
I see. Okay.
Right. So what is, from your perspective, what was your, what prompted you to join Edge Working Group?
So I work for AITS, and as a company, we are developing a compiler that relies on ONNX, and we are focusing on tiny devices like microcontrollers and microprocessors and mini computers like Raspberry Pi, with and without OS. So that actually prompted us to find so we ran into an issue where when we were working on 1.5 and the differences between 1.5 and 1.6, they were minor, but we have to keep track. So that caused us to find out as to how and what direction is ONNX moving on, to continue watching whether how do we effectively support the format and going forward.
Yeah, but so even that is kind of larger scope than Edge, right?
Yes, but we are focused on Edge. For example, we are not doing anything regarding training.
Okay, you're focusing on inference, right? So yeah, so then even that, there is, from a perspective of the working group, there is a training working group. There is no specifically, I don't know if you want a counterpart, there is no inference working group. Yeah, the topics you just described, it's kind of reiterate our kind of dilemma about the Edge working group in general, in terms of how we initially started and how it evolved, and beyond really just Edge.
Yeah. I would like to get an invitation for the operators and translators. Those are useful as well. I don't know.
So each of these, different ONNX SIGs or working groups have their own mailing lists or GitHub channels. So if you go here, I think here on the ONNX operators, there is a channel
Right. So what I'm trying to find is how do I get the invitation or the link to join the first two channels?
You don't need an invitation. You just join. I mean, the meeting invites should be published here. Web
Yes, where's
meeting.
the link to join? Is my point.
Aren't these links to join? I never.
Okay. No, I see the URL. Maybe I'll try. So what I see is different from you. I only see ONNX Edge and ONNX. You know, the
Oh, there is no invite here. I mean, it's always open. I'm not sure. You should be able to just type in this URL.
Yeah.
You should see it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so, okay. So going back to perhaps the main topic on the agenda. So here's next steps, right? So either we agree, even though we don't have offer and we don't have Manash here, that we do send this to the steering committee, or Prashant. Alternatively, I did ask Prashant, perhaps depending on the outcome of today's meeting, we could have perhaps a quick sync up with him directly on Friday to kind of raise this, and then he can further suggest how to proceed. So those are the options, and I could. He said he may be available on Friday around 11, but again, I don't know. In that case, not everybody can join. Or I could just send this letter to him and say, here what we have, and he's the one that could forward further to steering committee, right? So what do you guys think? Should I can approach Prashant directly just to kind of, share this first with him and see what he thinks we should do. If that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, I think game with both of them, Milan.
Hmm?
Either way, I think it's
Fine, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Yep.
Okay, so I will because I've been always in touch with Prashant in terms of the connection with the steering committee, and he's always been on top of things. So actually, that is what I'm gonna probably do. One logistics updates. I think because of the Linux Foundation switch, I think they are now. I got the notification from them that they are going to start using some of the Linux Foundation sort of logistics and infrastructure to organize and track meetings, and then there'll be some mailing lists and calendars that we can use, and etc. So that might be changing going forward. I mean, how we kind of organize meetings. All right. So there you go. I don't know if you need to continue anything else right now. I think we have a draft of the letter, and then I can approach and send to steering committee then and see what happens.
Milan, is it possible for you to also forward the email once you send it to me? I wanted to keep my representative in the steering committee informed on it, so he has a heads up that this is what.
Yeah, I will CC. You actually. What is the best way to do this? I mean, I don't want to obviously do anything under undercover. I will CC the currently active members of the working group. I mean, the guys that we have been discussing this with, mainly me, you, Yadong, Manash, and I guess offer, right? And so I'll CC you on that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Milan.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that's it. We don't need to continue necessarily anymore. We can conclude, and then we'll see about next steps. Either I mean, I don't know. It's going to be probably the New Year's. So Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
I mean, I guess Chinese New Year's in end of January, but okay. So okay, thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay.